Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadāgrajaḥ Śrīvasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today is the appearance day of Shri Balarāma, noontime. We've been celebrating all day long. And it's also Raksha Bandhan, the way that sisters tie a thread around the brother's wrist today to seek protection. And this is also called Shesha. There's a origin of that from Bali Maharaj and Vamandev. Although it looked like Vamandev had cheated Bali out of everything and tied him up, actually afterwards he gave him a place in Sutala that was more opulent than Indra's kingdom of heaven, and then Bali said, could you please stay with me and protect me? And Vamandev stays there as his doorkeeper, and they're inseparable. And this is really the meaning behind the process of bhakti, and the way that we practice is to seek shelter of Krishna. Stane stita shrutigatam tanavan manobir. Brahma said, if you hear about Krishna and you worship that sound vibration, then gradually you realize that Raksha Bandhan, that protective bond that we have with Krishna. And not only that, Krishna becomes so dear to the devotee, and the devotee so dear to Krishna, that there's this eternal bond, and that Krishna gives himself to the devotee, just as he gave himself to Bali Maharaj. So the process of coming to that point means taking shelter of Baladev, who, as we talked about this morning, is the original guru, the samasti guru. There are individual gurus who are the Vasti gurus, but Balarāma is the origin, the beginning of all of the sevakas, and is bringing everyone's energy towards Krishna. And he's also giving all facility to Krishna to enjoy. So we left off in the pastime of Krishna and Balarāma and their friends going to see Dhenukāsura. And we'll take up where we left off as they're moving towards the Talavan forest. Translation. O worshipful one, these peacocks are dancing before you out of joy, and the doe are pleasing you with affectionate glances, just as the gopis do, and these cuckoos are honoring you with Vedic prayers. All these residents of the forest are most fortunate, and their behavior toward you certainly befits great souls receiving another great soul at home. This earth has now become most fortunate, because you have touched her grass and bushes with your feet, and her trees and creepers with your fingernails, and because you have graced her rivers, mountains, birds, and animals with your merciful glances. But above all, you have embraced the young cowherd women between your two arms, a favor hankered after by the goddess of fortune herself. I think we started a little early. We had already read this morning. Why don't you move to the place where we're starting? Sometimes he would cry out in imitation of birds such as chakoras, crouches, chakravahas, bharadvajas, and peacocks, and sometimes he would run away with the smaller animals in mock fear of lions and tigers. Purport. The word bhītavat, as if afraid, indicates that Lord Kṛṣṇa played just like an ordinary boy and ran with the smaller forest creatures in mock fear of the lions and tigers. Actually, in Vrindavan, the abode of the Lord, the lions and tigers are not violent, and thus there is no reason to fear them. When his elder brother, fatigued from playing, would lie down with his head upon the lap of a cowherd boy, Lord Kṛṣṇa would help him relax by personally massaging his feet and offering other services. Purport. The word pada samvar hanadibi indicates that Lord Kṛṣṇa would massage Balarāma's feet, fan him, and bring him river water to drink. Sometimes as the cowherd boys dance, sang, and move about playfully, fought with each other, Krishna and Balarāma, standing nearby, hand in hand, would glorify their friends' activities and laugh. Sometimes Lord Kṛṣṇa grew tired from fighting and lay down at the base of a tree, resting upon a bed made of soft twigs and buds and using the lap of a cowherd friend as his pillow. The word Pallava Talpeshu implies that Lord Kṛṣṇa expanded himself into many forms and lay down upon the many beds of twigs, leaves, and flowers hastily constructed by his enthusiastic cowherd friends. Some of the cowherd boys, who were all great souls, would then massage his lotus feet, and others, qualified by being freed from all sin, would expertly fan the Supreme Lord. The word samā-vidyāyan indicates that the cowherd boys fanned the Lord very carefully and expertly, creating gentle and cooling breezes. My dear king, other boys would sing enchanting songs appropriate to the occasion, and their hearts would melt out of love for the Lord. In this way, the Supreme Lord, whose soft lotus feet are personally attended by the goddess of fortune, concealed his transcendental opulences by his internal potency and acted like the son of a cowherd. Yet even while enjoying like a village boy in the company of other village residents, he often exhibited feats only God could perform. Once some of the cowherd boys, Sridhama, the very close friend of Rama and Krishna, along with Subala, Stoka Krishna, and others, lovingly spoke the following words. The word premna, with love, indicates that the request the cowherd boys are about to place before Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma is motivated by love, not personal desire. The cowherd boys were eager for Krishna and Balarāma to exhibit their pastimes of killing demons and to enjoy the delicious fruits of the tal forest, and therefore they made the following request. The cowherd boys said, "O Rama, Rama, mighty armed one, Rama, Rama, Mahabaho, Krishna, Dushta, Nibarhana. O Krishna, destroyer of the miscreants. Not far from here is a very great forest filled with rows of palm trees." As stated in the Varaha Purana, not far from the western side of Mathura, at a distance of 2 yojanas, 16 miles, is a holy place named Govardhana, which is most difficult to attain. It is also stated in the Varaha not far from the western side of Mathura, 1 yojana away, 8 miles, is the forest known as Talavan, which was guarded by Dhenukāsura. Thus it appears that the Talavan forest is located midway between Mathura and Govardhan Hill. The forest of Talavan is described in the Sri Harivamsa as follows. The land there is even, smooth, and very expansive. The earth is black, densely covered with darba grass, and devoid of stones and pebbles. In that Talavan forest, many fruits are falling from the trees, and many are already lying on the ground, but all the fruits are being guarded by the evil Dhenukā. Purport: the demon Dhenukā would not allow anyone to eat the delicious ripe palm fruits of the Talavan, and Krishna's young boyfriends protested this unjust usurpation of the right to enjoy the fruits of a public forest. O Rama, O Krishna, Dhenukā is a most powerful demon and has assumed the form of an ass. He is surrounded by many friends who have assumed a similar shape and who are just as powerful as he. The demon Dhenukā has eaten men alive, and therefore all people and animals are terrified of going to the tall forest. O killer of the enemy, even the birds are afraid to fly there. Purport: the coward boyfriends of Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma encouraged the two brothers to go at once to the tall forest and kill the ass demon. Indeed, here they address the brothers as Amitrahan, killer of the enemy. The coward boys were engaged in ecstatic meditation upon the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and reasoned thus: Krishna has already killed terrible demons like Bhaka and Agha. So it is so special about this obnoxious jackass named Dhenukā, who has become public enemy number one in Vrindavan. The coward boys wanted Krishna and Balarāma to kill the demons so that all the pious inhabitants of Vrindavan can enjoy the fruits in the tall forest. Thus they requested the special favor that the ass demons be killed. In the tall forest are sweet-smelling fruits no one has ever tasted. Indeed, even now we can smell the fragrance of the tall fruits spreading all about. Purport: according to Srila Sridhar Swami, the sweet fragrance of the tall fruits was carried by an easterly wind, which is conducive to rain in the Vrindavan area. This easterly wind generally blows in the month of Bhadra, and thus indicates the excellent ripeness of the fruits. Well, the fact that the boys could smell them indicates the nearness of the tall forest. O Krishna, please get those fruits for us. Our minds are so attracted by their aroma. Dear Balarāma, our desire to have those fruits is very great. If you think it's a good idea, let's go to that tall forest. Purport: although neither man nor bird nor beast could ever approach the tall forest, the coward boys had so much faith in Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma that they took it for granted the two lords could effortlessly kill the sinful ass demons and acquire the delicious tall fruits. Lord Kṛṣṇa's coward boyfriends are exalted, self-realized souls who would not ordinarily become greedy for sweet fruits. In fact, they are simply joking with the Lord and enthusing his pastimes, urging him to perform unprecedented heroic feats in the tall forest. Innumerable demons disturb the sublime atmosphere of Vrindavan during Lord Kṛṣṇa's presence there, and the Lord would kill such demons as a popular daily event. Since Lord Kṛṣṇa had already killed many demons, on this particular day he decided to give first honors to Lord Balarāma, who would demolish the first demon, Dhenukā. By the words Jadi Rochite, the coward boys indicate that Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma need not kill the demons simply to satisfy them. Rather, they should do so only if the lords themselves found the concept appealing. Hearing the words of their dear companions, Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma laughed and, desiring to please them, set off for the Talavan, surrounded by their cowherd boyfriends. Purport: Lord Kṛṣṇa was thinking, how can a mere ass be so formidable? And thus he smiled at the petition of his boyfriends. As stated by Lord Kapila in the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:28-32, Hasam harir avanata kila lokativra shokashru sagara vishoshanam atyudharam. The smile and laughter of the Supreme Lord Hari is most magnanimous. Indeed, for those who bow down to the Lord, his smile and laughter dry up the ocean of tears caused by the intense suffering of this world. Thus, to encourage their boyfriends, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma smiled, laughed, and immediately set out with them for the tall forest. Lord Balarāma entered the tall forest first. Then, with his two arms, he began forcefully shaking the trees with the power of a maddened elephant, causing the tall fruits to fall to the ground. Hearing the sound of the falling fruits, the ass demon Dhenukā ran forward to attack, making the earth and trees tremble. The powerful demon rushed up to Lord Baladeva and sharply struck the Lord's chest with the hooves of his hind legs. Then Dhenukā began to run about, braying loudly. Moving again toward Lord Balarāma, O king, the furious ass situated himself with his back toward the Lord. Then, screaming in rage, the demon hurled his two hind legs at him. Purport: the word upakroshta indicates an ass and also one who is crying out nearby. Thus, it is indicated herein that the powerful Dhenukā made horrible, angry sounds. Lord Balarāma seized Dhenukā by his hooves, whirled him about with one hand, and threw him into the top of a palm tree. The violent wheeling motion killed the demon. Lord Balarāma threw the dead body of Dhenukā into the tallest palm tree in the forest, and when the dead demon landed in the treetop, the tree began shaking. The great palm tree, causing a tree by its side also to shake, broke under the weight of the demon. The neighboring tree caused yet another tree to shake, and this one struck yet another tree, which also began shaking. In this way, many trees in the forest shook and broke. Purport: Lord Balarāma threw the demon Dhenukā so violently into the great palm tree that a chain reaction was unleashed, and many towering palm trees shook and then broke with a great crashing sound. Because of Lord Balarāma's pastime of throwing the body of the ass demon into the top of the tallest palm tree, all the trees began shaking and striking against one another as if blown about by powerful winds. My dear Parikshit, that Lord Balarāma killed Dhenukāsura is not such a wonderful thing, considering that he is the unlimited personality of Godhead, the controller of the entire universe. Indeed, the entire cosmos rests upon him, just as a woven cloth rests upon its own horizontal and vertical threads. Ota protam idam yasmins. Ota protam. Ota protam means when you're weaving cloth, there's a vertical and horizontal, and they go together. And there are several verses about the name of Krishna being Otam Protam. He pervades everything, just as the vertical and horizontal threads. Otam Protam cha saṁstutaḥ. Unfortunate persons cannot appreciate the blissful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. In this connection, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that the Supreme Lord possesses unlimited potency and strength, as expressed here by the words Anante. The Lord exhibits a tiny fraction of his power according to the need of a particular situation. Lord Balarāma desired to vanquish the gang of demoniac asses who had unlawfully seized the Talavan forest, and therefore he exhibited just enough divine opulence to easily kill Dhenukāsura and the other demons. The other ass demons, close friends of Dhenukāsura, were enraged upon seeing his death, and thus they all immediately ran to attack Krishna and Balarāma. Purport: Srila Sanatana Goswami makes the following comment on this verse. It is stated here that the ass demons first attacked Krishna and then Balarāma. Krishnam cha Ramam cha. One reason for this is that the demons, having seen the prowess of Lord Balarāma, thought it wise to attack Krishna first. Or it might be that out of affection for his elder brother, Lord Krishna placed himself before Balarāma and the ass demons. The words Krishnam cha Ramam cha may also be understood to indicate that Lord Balarāma, out of affection for his younger brother, went to Krishna's side. And this is an important point, if you'll stay on that purport, please. There's, in Krishna's and Balarāma's relationship, Balarāma is the elder brother, and he has many all the relationships with Krishna, Balarāma. One of them is as elder brother and a protector. And we see throughout the Vrindavan pastimes that whenever Krishna isn't present, then everyone assumes that Krishna is going to get into some trouble. For instance, when Krishna was ensnared by the Kaliya serpent, there were omens that something was wrong, and then the devotees realized that Balarāma had stayed back that day to celebrate the nakshatra of his birthday, and therefore they realized that his protector, Balarāma, wasn't there. And when Balarāma finally got down to the lake of Kaliya, he saw that everyone was disconsolate and that Krishna was already in the coils of the snake. But although everyone was weeping and some were falling to the ground unconscious because of the scene of their pride and joy in the clutches of this huge snake, Balarāma was simply smiling. And he was holding back the coward men from going in that poisoned lake because they wanted to go in and save him. And as mentioned in one of the śāstras, that Balarāma was smiling because he was thinking, look how Krishna is playing with an ordinary snake in this world. He said, when I manifest as Anantashesha in my snake form, he doesn't play with me like this. So he was amused at Krishna's playing and had no misconception whatsoever that Krishna was in any danger at any time. Interesting also within all the Vrindavan Leelas, although Balarāma we see as depicted as carrying a plow and a mortar for a grinding, a pestle for grinding. There's a way in which in Vrindavan pastimes there are no they don't carry weapons, Krishna and Balarāma. They're playing all the time, and when Krishna kills Putana, he simply sucks on her breast like a baby. He kicks the cart demon with his lotus baby foot. And similarly, Balarāma, just with his hands, he kills various demons, but his club and other weapons don't come out and in Vrindavan. They're playing like that. So Balarāma is Dauji, the older brother of Krishna. In fact, it's mentioned also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that when he came as younger brother, as Lakshman in Ram Leela, he was very distraught about the way Ram went to the forest and left Sita behind later. And there were many ways in which, as the younger brother, he was subordinate. So then he resolved he'd always come as the elder brother. So Krishna wouldn't get into such situations in the future. The word Krishnam Ramam Cha may also be understood to indicate that Lord Balarāma, out of affection for his younger brother, went to Lord Krishna's side. O king, as the demons attacked, Krishna and Balarāma easily seized them one after another by their hind legs and threw them all into the tops of the palm trees. The earth then appeared beautifully covered with heaps of fruits and with the dead bodies of the demons, which were entangled in the broken tops of the palm trees. Indeed, the earth shone like the sky decorated with clouds. Purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the bodies of the demons were dark like dark blue clouds, and the large quantity of blood that had flowed from their bodies appeared like bright red clouds. Thus the whole scene was very beautiful. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various forms, such as Rama and Krishna, is always transcendental, and when he enacts his transcendental pastimes, the result is always beautiful and transcendental, even when the Lord performs violent acts like killing the stubborn ass demons. Hearing of this magnificent feat of the two brothers, the demigods and other elevated living beings rained down flowers and offered music and prayers and glorification. Purport. Srila Sanatana Goswami comments that the demigods, great sages, and other exalted beings were all astonished and ecstatic upon seeing the unusually swift and nonchalant way in which Krishna and Balarāma killed the very powerful ass demons in the tall forest. People now felt free to return to the forest where Dhenukā had been killed, and without fear they ate the fruits of the palm trees. Also, the cows could now graze freely upon the grass there. Purport, according to the acharyas, low-class people such as the Pulindas ate the fruits of the palm trees, but Krishna's cowherd boyfriends considered them undesirable since they had been tainted with the blood of the asses. The lotus-eyed Lord Kṛṣṇa, whose glories are most pious to hear and chant, returned home to Vraja with his elder brother Balarāma. Along the way, the cowherd boys, his faithful followers, chanted his glories. So, Balarāma, during the Kurukshetra war, went off on pilgrimage to avoid the situation because he was friends with Duryodhana. He had trained him in martial arts, fighting with a club specifically. And when he was on pilgrimage, he came to Naimisaranya. And there, where the sages were getting ready to perform their sacrifice, there was Romaharshan was on the Vyasasana when Balarāma came into the assembly. And as he approached, everyone recognized him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and got up to offer him respects, except for Romaharshan, who remained seated. And when Balarāma noticed this, he went over to speak to Romaharshan, and remembering that actually he was from a mixed caste, which is labeled him as a lower class person. The acharyas say Balarāma wouldn't have noticed anything if he had shown proper respect, because Balarāma is the source of all gurus. Those who are gurus are simply following the Adi Guru, Balarāma. And if somebody is disobedient or not respectful, doesn't recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then there is no question of being guru. So Balarāma, noticing this, became angry at Romaharshan and took one straw from the kusha plant and simply touched Romaharshan with it, and with that he was killed. The sages at that point, performing the sacrifice, were a little taken aback because they said we had granted him long life. So, taking advice from the śāstra, they transferred. Although Balarāma said, I can bring him back to life, the sages said, no, we don't want to interfere with your divine potencies. So Balarāma suggested that all the benedictions they had given to Romaharshan for long life be transferred to his son. So Sutta Goswami was then established there, who is Romaharshan Sutta, the son of Romaharshan. Of course, this title of Romaharshan means one who is a voracious hearer, who's very eager to hear, a ferocious hearer. So this is the idea of how one advances in devotional services. If one is very eager to hear about Krishna Katha. So Balarāma is the origin of all gurus, and if one doesn't respect Balarāma, just as in the pastime with Manikatana Ramdas, the brother of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, who is performing deity worship at his home, and it had a pujari there who disrespected Minikatana Ramdas, knowing him to be a devotee of Lord Nityananda, who's none different from Balarāma. Then Kaviraj Goswami got into a dispute with his brother because of this, of the disrespecting of Minikatana Ramdas, who is a very joyful-hearted devotee of Lord Nityananda. And he severely chastised his brother, did Kaviraj Goswami. And that night in a dream, he received instruction from Lord Nityananda that the Lord was very pleased with him and told him that he should leave for Vrindavan immediately and he would attain all things there, which Kaviraj Goswami did and became empowered to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita in Vrindavan. And his brother was in trouble after that. He fell down from his position. So this is the very essence of the strength anyone has in devotional service, is to take shelter of Lord Balarāma. And Lord Balarāma, of course, expands himself in many different ways. And he is the Akhanda Guru, or the Guru principle. And those who follow in the footsteps of Balarāma, they also become Vyasti Gurus, or representatives of the original Guru, Lord Baladev. In the pastime of Dhenukā, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says that Dhenukāsura is a demon who represents avidyā, ignorance. The donkey gets a lot of bad publicity, although some people appreciate donkeys. It can be very nice. But there's a lot in śāstra comparing low-class people to donkeys. For instance, śva-viḍ-varāhoṣṭra-kharaiḥ, saṁstutaḥ, puruṣaḥ, paśuḥ, yat-karṇa-pathopeto, that those who are like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses praise those people who never listen to the pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa, gadāgrajaḥ. So the ass is known for coming for sense gratification, especially at the time of mating, comes up to a female ass and gets kicked in the face multiple times, but that doesn't stop him. And so this is compared to trying to find happiness in the material world amidst being kicked in the face again and again by the material nature, being punished again and again, but just for a little bit of happiness, sense gratification, one keeps trying. This is avidyā, a completely mistaken idea about what human life is for. So Balarāma kills that tendency for avidyā and awakens us to the fact that the real goal in life is to serve Krishna. And he does it himself. As we talked about this morning, he expands himself in multiple ways to serve Krishna in all the different rasas. So now we'll take any reflections from the reading or discussion or from the monologue, and if you have any questions to expand the conversation a little bit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
This is Sadhu. And you were talking about how Lord Balarāma, he destroys all the anarthas or the avidyā in our heart. And I was remembering how Nityananda Prabhu, even though, Jagai and Madai, they were actually, drunkards. I was hearing in a lecture where Amarnath Prabhu said they were so sinful that they actually wanted to commit sin. They would read the Manu Samhita for all the sins that were there and go perform that the next day. So Nityananda Prabhu was actually he actually went to preach to Jagai and Madai, and Jagai, he preached to them, but then we all know how Madai, threw a half broken a pot on his head, and he was bleeding. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he actually came with the Sudarshan Chakra and came to kill Jagai and Madai. But Nityananda Prabhu begged them, and and begged him not to kill them, and that destroyed that that Jaga and Madai felt so Jaga and Madai they had a change of heart, thinking that, oh wow, even though we threw a pot on his head, he's actually forgiving us and not asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to kill us. So I'm just thinking how Nityananda Prabhu is so merciful that even if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't accept us, we can always, Nityananda Prabhu will actually approach us and actually take us to him gradually.
Yes, an excellent point. We talked about that a little bit this morning, about the way that the Guru, Lord Balarāma, Lord Nityananda, is very merciful and approaches those who are in a fallen condition to help them prepare themselves to perform devotional service. And even if someone's very fallen, the Guru, Lord Balarāma, or his representative, tries again and again to help them. And that's an excellent example of that with Jagai and Madai. Bhaktivinoda writes a question. You mentioned that Lord Balarāma expands himself in various ways to serve Krishna in all the rasas. What would be an example of Balarāma expanding himself to serve Krishna in Madhurya Ras? Radharani's younger sister, Ananga Manjari, is an expansion of Baladev. Monisha question, this morning we talked about Lord Balarāma being the Ananga Manjari. Could we expand on this topic a little more? No. Maybe another time. Sadhu Vrindavan reflection, Balarāma Nitai himself, very merciful and forgives the most fallen like Jagai and Madai and takes to devotional service.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Pranam. I was just reflecting on this, on the point of how Lord Balarāma is such a dynamic personality. On one hand, we see that he exhibits such enormous amount of strength and power, and even at one he attempted to remove a whole town of Hastinapur off the map, right? Just because somebody, the others, they offended Krishna. And on the other hand, we have Nityananda Prabhu going door to door, falling at the feet of the people and requesting with tears in his eyes, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Kaho Krishna, Krishna. That's really amazing about him. Something.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Krishna's all powerful, but he's all merciful.
Prabhu, I had a question.
Yes.
I was wondering that like Balarāma becomes the brother, he also becomes the Ananga Manjari Gopi. So, and he becomes the paraphernalia for Krishna. So is that possible only for Balarāma, or can living entities also take different positions and different time to serve Krishna?
Well, as mentioned in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, devotees, Srila Prabhupada writes, are in Dasya Ras, serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but later as they develop in their relationship, they become more settled in their sthāyi-bhāv, or their permanent relationship with Krishna. So it's more of an evolution to that point, but generally there's a way in which the devotees, living entities, are established in an eternal relationship with Krishna that's already there, but then it becomes manifest through the process of devotional service, and then that becomes their predominant relationship with Krishna. Although there are different sub-rasas that manifest, and different combinations and permutations of different rasas that go together, that manifest at various times, there is a predominant rasa that devotees have with Krishna.
Thank you.
Balarāma, of course, has this he's endowed with all of these different relationships out of a sense of service. The devotees also, although they have one main rasa, they may complement all the other rasas as well, because just like in an orchestra, everyone's important and it all works together. And it's not that one rasa becomes, it's not considered to be less than another. In other words, devotees are satisfied in whatever situation they're in and think this is the best, although they appreciate all the other devotees in whatever rasa they're in as well.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And we could see that in Krishna and Balarāma, like brothers, as brothers, they also have their disagreements. There's ways in which, for instance, with Subhadra, Krishna wanted to marry her to Arjuna, and everybody else was thinking Duryodhana. So, Krishna arranged that Arjuna came as a sannyasi. He dressed him up like a sadhu and put him nearby the town where they were all staying. And then he started spreading a rumor about this sannyasi who could give benedictions. And anybody could go there and get a benediction. And that rumor spread everywhere. So everybody wanted to go there and see him. And when Subhadra went, Krishna had noticed previously that she had glanced at Arjuna favorably, so he thought, oh, this is a good match. And of course, when Subhadra went there to visit this sadhu to ask for benediction, Arjuna grabbed her by the hand and took off with her. And then there was quite a disagreement because Balarāma was quite angry then. And as they were getting away, Krishna had Subhadra drive the chariot as he was fighting everybody off from behind. And everyone realized, oh, this is Arjuna, he's taken off with Subhadra. And Balarāma then was quite angry with Krishna, but at that time, Krishna calmed him down and had reminded him when Samba had also gone into fight with all the Kuru warriors, and Balarāma had gone there and quite approved of the way that he had stolen away his bride. And so back and forth we find Krishna's relationship with Balarāma to be very brotherly in that way. And even at Kurukshetra battle, Balarāma had avoided it because he was friends with Duryodhana. And at the very last, after the battle was over, the fight was going on with Bhima and Duryodhana. Bhima was stronger, but Duryodhana was a more expert club fighter. And earlier, Krishna had known that this fight would take place. And when Duryodhana's mother, Gandhari, had attempted to protect him with the power of her chastity, she had called him to the tent where she was staying and said that you come completely naked, because she would take off the covering from her eyes that she had voluntarily put on to stay at an equal level with her husband, to be blind. And through the power of her chastity, upon glancing at the body of Duryodhana, she would make him invincible to the power of the club of Bhima. And on the way to the tent, Krishna saw him and said, where are you going naked like that? And he said, to see my mother. And he said, you can't do that. And he said, but she told me to. And Krishna told him, No, that's if you're a baby. Well, your baby can do that, not when you're grown up. He said, here, take this gamsha. You wear this gamsha. Then you can do. And so he went in the tent. His mother took off the scarf that was covering her eyes, and she invested her Shakti in him by her glance. But then she said, why are you wearing a gamsha? I told you to come without any clothes. And he told her, Krishna told me I should wear a gamsha. And then she knew that her plan had been foiled. And at the end, at Kurukshetra, when Duryodhana and Bhima were fighting, they fought every day for hours and hours, but they were equally matched, seemingly. And then they'd go home at night and then come back and fight the next day, again and again. And then when Krishna came there, he indicated to Bhima that he slapped his thigh to show that Duryodhana was vulnerable there, said, hit him with your club there. So when Duryodhana was jumping high, Bhima swung, and against the rules, he hit the thigh of Duryodhana and smashed him in that place where he was vulnerable. And Balarāma became very angry with Krishna for doing that. So they have this very brotherly relationship where they have disagreements and so forth. Balarāma also smashed the king of Kalinga when he was playing chess, and there's a way in which playing with Rukmi, he was playing with Rukmi, and the king of Kalinga, every time Rukmi would claim that he won, although he didn't, the king of Kalinga would show his teeth and laugh. And Balarāma, after several times of winning, and then Rukmi claiming that, no, I won, and cheating, there was a voice from the sky that said, no, actually Balarāma is the winner. And Rukmi still tried to say that he won. So Balarāma's anger arose like the high tide, came up over him, and he smashed Rukmi, and then he smashed in the teeth of the king of Kalinga with his club, because his anger comes up just like the ocean tide. It becomes very angry sometimes. Are there any... why was Balarāma more inclined toward Duryodhana? He was his friend. He had taught him the art of fighting.
I
and
have
here's
a question.
one. There's just one more here. Go ahead, please.
I was just wondering, this morning you were saying how Balarāma, as soon as Krishna expands into Balarāma, that it becomes, every expansion from Balarāma is service, is a servant of Krishna, and it's all used to serve Krishna, or the expansion. So how does Krishna go from being Krishna to expanding? What do you mean by expansion? And I just, because when I think of trying to perform bhakti yoga, I'm thinking that we're becoming infused with Radharani's devotional energy. So how is Balarāma coming from Krishna, but it's devotional service? Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, if you think about it, everything comes from Krishna. Everything is Krishna. He, as I said this morning, Eko Bahu Shyam, the one, Eko, becomes many for his own enjoyment. And there's unlimited expansions of Krishna, because when he expands, then there's a variety of enjoyment. If you're one, there's nobody to interact with. So this is God's Shakti, that all these, although he's one person, he expands himself into many other personalities that are complementary, that have relationship. And he also has multifarious energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividai Vashuddhe Swabhavika Jnana Bala Kriyacha. This is the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as mentioned in the Upanishads. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Although he is the one supreme complete whole, he expands himself into unlimited units, and he is never depleted by that. And those complete units are also complete in themselves because they come from Krishna. So Krishna has three primary energies called Sandini, Samvit, and Hladini. And these are what manifest various varieties for instance, Sandini is Lord Balarāma. That's the category of energy that he manifests for Krishna's service. So as an example, he manifests as Balarāma. All of Krishna Loka is an expansion of his energy so that there's a substance there that in which all the pastimes are enacted. In other words, whatever foundation is there, the land, the trees, the very Dham itself is a manifestation of Balarāma. That's his Sandini energy. And then he expands himself, Balarāma expands himself further into Mahasankarshan, and from there he has an expansion in Mathura and Dwarka, and Mula Sankarshan is an expansion in Vaikuntha, and then the Vishnus, like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu, manifest the material worlds. So what we mean by expansion is that although Krishna is one, he expands himself into many, just like the Brahma Samhita says, a candle is one original candle, but it can light many other candles. And the fire in the candles is identical, but there's one original candle from which it comes. That's the nature of the spiritual energy. And it's specifically Krishna's nature that he can manifest many different forms for his enjoyment. Then, of course, the Hladini energy is Radharani. She manifests the pleasure energy through which Krishna engages in relationships for pleasure in his Leela. And she also expands herself. For instance, from Radharani are expanded the queens in Dwarka, and from there's expansions of the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, and then of course into the material world we have Durga. These are all expansions of energetic expansions of Srimati Radharani. So the various potencies are what actually make God the supreme. If he has no potencies, then there's no enjoyment. There's also what is a potent person or entity without any potencies. So the sun is there, but the sun has its energies, which are the sunshine, which manifest everywhere and make all the difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's just see if there's any last questions or comments.
Vaisesika Prabhu, this is Shrivas here.
Hare Krishna, Shrivas Prabhu.
Thank you so much for your wonderful lecture.
Thank you for being there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so because it's getting late, we can end with one last kirtan, just to make sure the neighbors get a little bit of transcendental vibration. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody. Birds fly in the sky as high as they are capable. And in devotional service, everyone can try to glorify the Lord according to his or her capacity. And in whatever way we do, it's always something that attracts the Lord's attention and is always purifying. Shrinvatam sa kata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridyantaksto hi bhadrani vidhunoti suritsatam. The process is infallible because the Lord's infallible and the vibration is non-different from the Lord himself. And even if you don't see immediately what the result is from the practice of devotional service, we can cultivate the knowledge from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, where he says, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even the smallest fraction of endeavor in devotional service is permanent. And the result is unlimitedly given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he's so merciful. So we can remember that we can, especially this week, put our full hearts and attention into glorifying Krishna through Janmashtami, and just as we've done today for Balarāma Purnima. And so what if it's a pandemic and we're locked down one way or the other? This is one of the ways that we're glorifying Krishna to the best of our ability, just from whatever position we're in right now. And this will also become a time when we know that in all circumstances, whatever they may be, we're going to go on with the glorification of Krishna using whatever facility we're given. And by doing that, one becomes like Dadichi, who gave his whole life. He sacrificed his body, practically. He gave it in charity for Krishna on the very principle that this body's temporary. We're just moving through this world. All the assets we've acquired here are only temporary. But what's permanent is our devotional service. And so thank you very much, everybody, for joining from different places, from all over ISV and around the world. And let's pray to Lord Balarāma one more time that please empower us, dear Sri Balarāma, if you so desire. Please instill in our hearts unbreakable determination to serve Lord Kṛṣṇa, to always keep the transcendental vibration going. And please direct us from within and without so that we can always make good decisions to expand your service, the service to Lord Kṛṣṇa and the Sankirtan movement. Thank you for considering our requests. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Can everyone please unmute and say Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
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 Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna Bhavani Bhyo Vaishnava Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Ki Jai.